Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Linda, and this is for the record, Your Honor. So like I've said previously, I wasn't going to dive into any of this Blake Lively, it ends with us drama saga. But the more things have come out, the more I'm like about her, starting with when she was on Gossip Girl. And personally, sorry, not sorry, I'm not a fan of Ryan Reynolds. He thinks he's arrogant and he thinks he's better than everyone. And sometimes I think he thinks he's really funny when he's not. There's times he is. Don't get me wrong. My husband loves Deadpool. And I'm just not a big fan of it. I feel every time I watch that movie that it's him being his true, authentic self, just able to do it and say shit sarcastically because he's wearing a mask. I don't know. I just have odd feelings about him. And clearly going back into videos, interviews of Blake Lively and knowing her history, her family a little bit, her entitlement, makes me just think Ryan Reynolds knew who he married. He's known all along. And she has not changed. She's been this mean girl this whole time. How come it took so long for it to come out? Well, like I've told y'all, her parents have quite the connections. So having Ryan Reynolds is just a bonus. But how did she get Ryan Reynolds? I'm going to go back to some of the original social media legends. Whether you like him or not, Perez Hilton was the first to really start paparazzi, tabloid media, social media. So let's see what he has to say, because he himself actually brought this back up. And maybe a lot of people don't know the backstory. So let's get into it. Ryan Reynolds cheated on Scarlett Johansson, and Blake Lively eliminated, we're going to say, the story, claims New York Times bestselling author. Now, I would probably say late 90s and 2000s, Scarlett Johansson was the it girl. It's very odd that we have her involved in this conversation with a mean girl, because a lot of people with Amber Heard were doing split screens with Scarlett Johansson, and there was a lot of drama behind all that, saying how she was doing all she could to be the next it girl and to replace Scarlett Johansson, and her first way of doing that was copying her style to a T. But you can't really say, oh, does Ryan Reynolds have a type? Mean girls, maybe? Because Scarlett Johansson has never been known to be a mean girl. In fact, she's been known to be one of the realest ones out there. Down to earth, herself. She's easy to get along with, and she can handle a joke. She's currently married to an SNL star. So good for her. But what happened? Another day, another example of Blake Lively being a secret mean girl. For over a decade, fans have wondered if Blake was the reason for Ryan Reynolds and Scarlett Johansson's split. I admit, my opinion is speculation. I always thought so, because it was like that, a turnover so fast. They met on the set of Green Lantern while Ryan and ScarJo were still married. This is giving Amber Heard vibes again. Blake also with someone else. She was dating her Gossip Girl co-star, Penn Badgley. That's Joe Goldberg from You, the show You. Great show. I love it. Can't wait for the next season. But wow. So the official line has always been that they did not get together then. Ryan and Scarlett ended their marriage. Blake and Penn broke up. And even then, Blake and Ryan didn't jump in right into the relationship together, starting off on a double date where they were both with other people, Ryan told EW in 2016. We were buddies then. I remember it was funny because for about a year after Green Lantern had come and gone and all that stuff, we were both single. We went on a double date. She was on a date with another guy, and I was on a date with another girl. Then, out of nowhere, lightning struck, and they just happened to realize they were meant for one another. Perfect. And with absolutely no overlap. Or was there? Now that everyone is spilling their Blake Lively mean girl moments, and T, a best-selling author, has now dropped the claim Ryan did cheat on ScarJo with Blake. Surprise, surprise, not really. And reporters did find out. But you know how Blake deals with journalists. They didn't stand a chance. Like I said, she's very entitled. With parents that just happen to enable her through everything. Kat Marnell, an acclaimed writer for XO Jane, Vice, Glamour, and more, clearly isn't scared anymore. The author of New York Times bestseller, How to, we'll say Unalive, Your Life, dropped the bombshell allegation on X Twitter on Thursday.
Fun fact, Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds hooked up when RR was still married to ScarJo and holed up in a NOLA hotel room during the Green Lantern.
Oh my God, wow. Okay, first of all, New Orleans is absolutely where they filmed Green Lantern. If they were hooking up then, as many have surmised over the years, no question that was cheating. And if so, that means anything else they have said over the years about just being friends was all a lie. Yeah, exactly. So there's probably a lot more to the story, and there was probably not just one time. Come on. Let's be honest here. If they cheated, it was going on a little bit more and more detail than what they're given. So how did they keep it all under wraps? Well, very nearly they didn't, she continued.
US Weekly had discovered this. Their beauty editor would tell us this at Events ABT how RRBL team's threats squashed the story.
Of course, money can buy you anything in Hollywood. In a subsequent tweet, Kat also confirmed that US Weekly beauty editor she was talking about was none other than Gwen Flamberg. Damn. The tweet has since been deleted, but here it is for posterity. Okay. These aren't randos. These are real celebrity beat reporters who could have the goods on a story and just have it covered up, paid off, or whatever, disappear. For Kat to come out and say Ryan and Blake's teams bullied them into not doing the story is so wild. She even used the words threats. Well, at the time, Blake was just becoming known and Ryan was doing very well. So this would have been extremely damaging to both of them. And they probably wouldn't be where they are today if that did come out. Just saying. E did hint at something at the time, writing that Ryan had not been up to the wedding vows stuff while on the Louisiana set, but that quickly went away and got replaced by the more palatable story. We guess Blake's team got to them too. So why now? Has it been long enough no one fears retribution? Or more likely, the tide of public opinion has turned so much on Blake that no one cares what she has to say now? Wow. We wonder if ScarJo will come out and say something, or Penn. Do you buy this? I got fire on it. Wake up, wake up. It's the first of the month. Please be advised this conversation may contain opinions and speculations. This is for entertainment and or educational or awareness purposes only. Always do your own research to make and come to your own conclusions. And due to community guidelines on this platform, we have to use code words and code terms. Okay, so thank you. Digging a little more, there's some more articles that Perez Hilton does have up. Blake Lively admits presenting herself as just an actor, then taking over parts of projects to feel fulfilled. Watch the vintage clip going viral. Oh boy. So if you are a fan of Andy Signor, my good friend, and his channel, Popcorn Planet, they went over this Forbes interview. So let's see what Perez Hilton had to say. Blake Lively always intended to take control of It Ends With Us. It's nothing new for her. One of the major reasons Justin Baldoni is upset with his co-star amid their ongoing lawsuit is that she allegedly took over their movie, going so far as making it her own version of the film and pressuring execs to get it released over the actual director's cut. Girl. That's just one of the many ways she allegedly stole control of the flick from Justin, who was the director, producer, and lead actor. And he's pissed, rightfully so. But while the Jane the Virgin star may have been blindsided by Blake's apparent overbearing attitude on his set, this is something she's super accustomed to doing. Like I always say, she's very freaking entitled. And everyone around her enables it. And that's why she continues to be the monster that she is. In a 2022 Forbes Power Women Summit interview, which is now going viral online, thanks to resurfaced clips from a certain journalist, Kajersky Fla. I'm sorry if I butchered that up. You know, the one who had a long-standing beef with the Gossip Girl star? Oh, damn. Oh, yeah. Okay. Blake proudly admitted to tricking collaborators into thinking she was just going to be an actor when she always wanted to be more hands-on. She shared.
When I was younger in my life and career, I would sort of shape myself to the version of myself that I thought that they wanted. Or when I would show up on a set, I knew that they just wanted me to show up and look cute and stand on a little pink sticker where I'm supposed to go and say what I'm supposed to say. But I always knew, that wasn't fulfilling for me. That I wanted to be a part of the storytelling. That I wanted to be a part of the narrative, whether that be in the writing, in the costume design, in creating the character.
This naturally ruffled some feathers. Yeah, rightfully so.
Sometimes I would have people who really resented that because they were like, we just hired you to be an actor. When I went in the meetings, I would just seem like I'm just there to be the actor and ready to get the gig. I wouldn't reveal that I actually need to have authorship in order to feel fulfilled. So I think that for them, that might have felt like a rug pulled because you're trying to assert yourself into something that we didn't hire you to do.
Duh, what the hell? She's just rude. She just wants what she wants. Exactly why she shouldn't be taking charge. And yet she doesn't seem to think that that's a problem. She's proud of it. Exactly. Elsewhere, she doubled down while sort of admitting it's better to be upfront about your true desires, adding,
it's about being upfront about knowing what you actually need versus just trying to get the job. And then once you're in it, revealing the scope of your sort of needs to be fulfilled.
But whether or not she makes it clear, she wants to have more creativity control on a project. Ryan Reynolds' wife is stubborn when it comes to getting what she wants. She shared her style of collaboration, explaining,
there are moments it's just as important to say, okay, I believe in this, and that's why I'm standing up for this, and that's why I'm not being difficult. And then there are other moments where you go am I the hole in the room? What is happening here?
Wow, if you need some sort of way to explain this girl, it's tone deaf. She doesn't know how to read a room. She's tone deaf. Or she completely just doesn't give a shit and she just thinks she deserves the best. Perez Hilton in response, yes, Blake, you are. At least if you ask Justin. Here are the best bits from the interview below. Now, if you don't believe me that Blake has always been problematic, let's go back a little more to 2016 in an article from The Cut. Now Blake Lively claims Woody Allen is empowering to women. Oh boy. In an interview with Variety at Cannes this morning, Blake Lively criticized the film festival's master of ceremonies for making a joke about her Cafe Society director, Woody Allen's alleged history of SA. I think any jokes about RAPE, homophobia, or this person is not a joke, she said, adding, I can't imagine Fred Astaire and Bing Crosby going out and doing that. She also claimed not to have read Rowan Farrow's recent Hollywood Reporter piece about Allen's alleged crimes. I call bullshit on that. Clearly, she is very in the know on articles that are going to be put out regarding her or the people around her. So she's very nosy, she's very in the know, and she knows how to get her way in the industry. So I bet you she has a subscription to Hollywood Reporter. No joke. That's not all Lively had to say in defense of Allen, however. So leave it as that. Angeles Times, she claimed the 80-year-old director is empowering to women. Here's the relevant passage. It's amazing what Woody has written for women, said Blake Lively, noting a series of complicated women characters dating back to the 1970s. Lively said any news coverage of Allen's personal life did not register as she was making the movie. It's very dangerous to factor in things you don't know anything about, she said. I could only know my experience, and my experience with Woody is he's empowering to women. Interesting use of the word dangerous there. For what it's worth, Lively's co-star Kristen Stewart made similar comments to Variety earlier that week, explaining she and co-star Jesse Eisenberg discussed the allegations against Allen and decided they didn't know enough about them to judge.
I was like, what do you think? We don't know any of these people involved. I can personalize situations which would be very wrong. At the end of the day, Jesse and I talked about this. If we were persecuted for the amount of shit that's been said about us that's not true, our lives would be over. The experience of making the movie was so outside of that, it was fruitful for the two of us to go on with it.
Eisenberg told Variety he didn't recall the conversation. And here's another article that was based around the same topic. A picture of them together. Last year, Blake Lively joined an elite club of actresses who can be considered Woody Allen muses. See also Emma Stone. Oh, I love Emma. Kristen Stewart and Scarlett Johansson. Of course. Of course. She's pulling an Amber Heard move, always. She's got to go after and follow the steps of that person that she's obsessed with. Yikes. She's a very insecure woman. That's what I'm getting from it. When she was cast to star in the director's latest comedy, Cafe Society, as the actress told us at the Cannes this year, she signed on to the project without knowing anything about it, not even its time period, let alone her character, because she was so eager to work with the Oscar winner. So, yeah, okay. I believe she definitely freaking knew all about it, but she desperately wanted to be someone that has worked with Woody Allen. So, of course, she was going to be like, oh, well, it didn't happen to me, so it's okay. I can't stand this woman. And it's been always like that. I never liked her. But I went into the lawsuit with an open mind. And when we heard her side first and only her side, I was open to it. You know, I was like, maybe something did happen. Let's see where the evidence leads us. And as of right now, the evidence is in his favor. And her past is creeping up to haunt her. It's literally like the boy who cried wolf. You're shady, you're two-faced, you're backstabbing for so many years. And then say something actually finally does happen to you. A lot of people are probably not going to believe you because you've been a mean girl. It's sad. We should always believe people at first until we are shown otherwise why not to. But with her, it's like now she's crying for the attention because things were coming out left and right about her already. And in a new interview, Lively explains what it was like to be directed by the legendary filmmaker.
It's really cool to work with a director who's done so much because he knows exactly what he wants, Lively tells Hampton's magazine. The fact that he does one shot for an entire scene, and this could be a scene with 8 people and 1 to 2 takes, it gives you a level of confidence because when he's got it, he knows he's got it.
Although Alan has a reputation for communicating minimally with his actors, Lively maintains that he was so clear with her about what he wanted and supportive that she felt empowered by him.
He also is really encouraging as to why he cast you. So he'll say the dialogue that's written, and then you can improvise for a while, Lively explains. And his dialogue is so specific, and it's speaking in a 1930s dialect and with period references. So it's intimidating to think, oh, let me just improvise there and hope that my words blend seamlessly alongside Woody Allen's, which they clearly wouldn't and don't. But he's very empowering.
Lively explains, oh, go figure, because she gets to do a little bit of what she wants to do. Notice how she always talks like Fred Astaire and who did she mention? Catherine Crosby. She's always trying to showcase that she knows deep history and all the legends of entertainment. That's probably because of her mom and dad, but I'm just saying she always has to insert this. And who else also did that? Amber Heard. Telling you 2.0, y'all. 2.0. This past May, Alan, Lively, and the rest of the Cafe Society cast made headlines when Rowan Farrow, Alan's estranged son, called out the parties who continued to collaborate with Alan in spite of the SA allegations made against him in an essay quarter, the same day the Cafe Society opened the Cannes Film Festival, Farron wrote.
Amazon paid millions to work with Woody Allen, bankrolling a new series and film. Actors, including some I admire greatly, continue to line up to star in his movies. It's not personal, one once told me. But it hurts my sister every time one of her heroes like Louis C.K. or a star her age like Miley Cyrus works with Woody Allen. Personal is exactly what it is, for my sister and for women everywhere with allegations of sexual assault that have never been vindicated by a conviction.
Amen. A-frickin-men. Now, if you're not familiar with Rowan's work, Google him. He has done so many exposés, articles that have led to little to massive with Free Britney movement, with the expose of people like Harvey Weinstein, going towards, you know who, EpiPen, so on and so on. So it's not just because he is close to this situation. It is because he's been around this type of situation and seen how it can be covered up in the industry is exactly why he fights back, and he is a good journalist. When we asked Lively about the essay in Cannes, the actress refused to comment on it, claiming that she had not read the piece and did not want to speak about something with which she was not familiar. Alan was on the same page.
I never read anything about me, these interviews I do, anything, Alan told us when we asked about the essay. I said everything I had to say about that whole issue in the New York Times, Alan said, referring to the 2014 open letter he wrote in response to Dylan Farrow's open letter. I have moved so far past it. I never think about it. I work. I said I was never going to comment on it again. I said everything I have to say about it.
So let's go over a couple of videos and interviews with Blake Lively and just cipher through and see what we find.
Everyone tends to want to talk about why this is such an important film and why it's so empowering. And I think that that is really important. But I think what's beautiful about this film is there is every color of human emotion in it. There's levity, there's joy, there's humor, there's hope, there's pain, there's tragedy, there's violence, there's trauma, there's sadness, there's exaltation, there's life, there's death, there's.
Oh my God, girl, what are you doing? At first, I'm like, okay, she's comfortable, relaxed. She's got a good balance. She sounds professional. And then now she's going overboard with just simply describing it. Just get to it, girl.
There's like love, there's loss, there's just, really like, it is a kaleidoscope of the human experience, and not just the female experience. Like, yes, this is Lily's story and this is her journey, but the men's characters in this movie are incredibly powerful, dynamic characters. My mother, you don't see her as much, but you really feel who she is and her journey. Young Lily, you really understand her. And so my Lily has her own beginning, middle, and end, and young Lily has her own beginning, middle, and end. And then you overlay those two and you see this bigger, more beautiful arc. And Alyssa, played by Jenny Slate, you just like what female friendships mean, what somebody who like shows up for you means. And it just really is, it's a movie that I think can capture any age, any gender. It really, because it's so much just rooted in the human experience and emotions and feelings. And emotions, I think people tend to think like emotions is like emotional, like sad or tragic or drama. But really this has every color. And I think that that's why grabs people like it does. And I think that, for the women I know who have seen this movie,
I don't even know what to say. Oh my gosh. Let's get to a different part about it. Okay?
Who have experienced any similar pain, whether exactly or adjacent to what Lily has experienced, have felt really seen by it. And I'm not saying every woman would, just the ones that I know that have seen that. And I also think what they've said to me is I want young women to see this, or women of all ages to see this, to know that A, they're not alone, and B, you can get out. And it feels so hard to get out. It feels impossible to get out. But you can. In the poster and throughout we say, you can break the pattern before the pattern breaks us. And I think that's like a more literary way to say it. But it's beautiful to see patterns and to see people see the patterns and go, I'm not going to do that. And then do it. And then some end it and some don't. And I think that there's real empathy for both sides there. It's not saying this is the only way, that you have to do it.
So in other words, she's saying this movie is very relatable on all different levels, and especially with things that are hidden in society at times. People are ashamed that they're going through such hard times and emotions, but continue to try put on a brave face and smile in public. And the struggles that everyone goes through throughout the years and different ages and stages of their lives. That's all she needed to say. Oh my gosh.
If you don't do it this way, you're judged. It's to say, like, we see you, like life is murky. And yeah, we just want people to feel seen, and as hokey as it sounds, inspired. Like, I think it is ultimately very inspiring. And we didn't set out to tell an inspirational movie, because that feels a little like overly earnest. We just set out to tell a movie that really feels heartfelt and authentic, and makes you laugh and makes you cry and just makes you feel. I feel like I lived under a rock, because I hadn't heard of Colleen Hoover before they came to me with this movie. But the person that I was in the car with, Eden, when the gentleman I work with, Warren, called me and said, hey, you know, they're interested in you playing this character. Do you know Colleen Hoover and her book? And I thought, oh, that's so interesting that a 25-year-old who has access to every bit of information possible, everything you get on social media apps, all the streaming, all the optionality, you know, here's this name of this writer that cut through. That was interesting to me because, like, you know, in older generations, you know, everybody was listening to the same radio shows.
She's serving a compliment, but at the same time, she's like backhanding you.
You know, watching the same 30 channels. So now when the whole world is open to you, for a name to cut through like that to a younger generation really made me perk up. And then when he said the name of the book, she's like shrieked. And I was like, are you a fan of this book? She was like, I read her other books. I don't know that book, but that is the book that all of my friends are obsessed with. Everyone knows that. So she hadn't even read the book, but she shrieked when she heard the name. And then I ended up going to a local bookstore like an hour later in this tiny town, and the windows were just covered in Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover, Colleen Hoover. I thought, okay, I feel like the universe is trying to tell me something. So I read the script that night, and I just so fell in love with Lily, and I just wanted to tell her story so much. So my favorite set, I mean, it was definitely Lily Bloom's. That set is so beautiful. It looks nothing like this set, but this one is so beautiful too. And that's what I think is special. I mean, we talked about it at another time with Colleen, is that like everyone has a different vision or interpretation of what that is. And that's what I love. Like, I'm actually thrilled that the set isn't an exact replica of that one, because every reader had a different Lily Bloom's in their head. And I hope that we get to continue to have different Lily Bloom's pop-ups here and there, because there's going to be a different take on her creativity and who she is, and I want people to take Lily and overlay them into her life, the things that they love about her, and because I took some from Lily. Like, I really do love her. So I loved her set. I love Lily Bloom's. When we went in there, the wallpaper was this beautiful, I think it was Morris & Co. wallpaper, and they were like, oh yeah.
Notice, just like I said with Amber Heard when we were going through the trial on Andy Signor's channel, Popcorn to Planet. Sometimes, I hate to say it, but sometimes these women that are narcissists or highly obsessed with themselves, they are very materialistic. Like here, she is naming the designer of a wallpaper.
Yeah, so this is the decrepit French brasserie, and then we're going to paint over it. And I was like, oh God, no, we can't paint over it. And they were like, well, this paint company is giving us money for the movie and we need it, because it was a very small budget movie. And we were like, okay, let's paint one wall, but can you leave this falling apart wallpaper? Because that's what Lily does, is she sees something that may be broken, and she highlights the value in it. She can say, no, we can, you know, emphasize this beauty. We don't need to cover what's broken. We need to show it how valuable it is. So she does that with Atlas. She does that with, I imagine to an extent, she did it with her father. I mean, mother. She does it with herself. She does it with Ryle. She does it with her flower shop. So she sees the beauty in something that, you know, others may cast aside or think is tarnished. And so yeah, that was important to me. So I love Lily Bloom's. I love all the layers and the textures. And so yeah, that was definitely my happy space. And I got to actually arrange flowers while I was in there. We were rolling. I got to, do a whole montage where we're just building and creating and painting the walls. And so, a lot of that stuff was happening in real time. Obviously, I'm not, the production or set designer, but,
It's funny that she just said that, because I was going to say she is very detailed and she does have a lot of creativity. And even with her clothing, her style, how she's put together, I give her props on that. She should have been a stylist or a director or a set designer. Clearly, she has the vision for that and the mind for that. But like we've heard with her situation of the movie and the lawsuit, she oversteps and she takes over things that are not hers and not for her to mess with. So it's interesting that she's admitting to that she is not any of those titles or careers. And like I always say, narcissists are always telling on themselves. Remember that.
They were filming us doing a lot of but yeah, we've got our hands dirty in there, so I loved being in Lily Blooms. I love being in this Lily Blooms too. I was sad they didn't invite me to help set this up because it's so.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying, y'all? She had to say, oh, like, because she doesn't like the set. I'm telling you right now, she does not like the set. She's saying she does, but she does not like it. She probably was not happy about it either. And
pretty, I would have loved to have done this with them. So many different ways where she could be portrayed, and her emotional roadmap was so strong and so potent. And what was important to me for Lily is that she didn't come into it from a delicate place, that she didn't come into it as somebody who was super vulnerable or susceptible to someone coming in and overwhelming her and traumatizing her, that she came in with real spice and sass and agency, and she had both feet on the ground and her head screwed on tight. And she's full of like levity and life and humor, but this is also a little jaded given what she's experienced in her life. And she's open and vulnerable. She has all of those colors, but she's not a delicate flower. She's not a wilting lily. She is a strong, empowered woman. So she's someone that you would look at and go, well, especially given her history, she comes from a family that, a childhood that has some trauma in it. And you see her say, well, that's never going to be me. And then you meet her as an adult and go, yeah, she means it. She knows what to look out for. She's not going to repeat those patterns. And then when she does, it's that much more devastating. And it shows that this could happen to anyone. And it does. Like, I think that oftentimes when I think of films that have portrayed,
again, she's overstepping. I don't know if you guys are noticing these things, but she's taking over this interview. Like, we're not hearing the interviewer. They're just showing it on the screen, but they're asking these questions and she's continuing on to explain more and other things, which is fine. But when you're over rambling and you're coming off that you're unsure what you're going to say in real time, why are you doing this? Overstepping again.
We'll call it what it is. It's violence against women. They often paint a picture that's a bit more black and white, where this person is clearly the villain and this woman is clearly the victim. And you could see, like, how could she possibly experience that at this person's hands? Or when she does experience it, she's out right away and has a revelation. You don't normally see how gray it can be and how confusing it can be, and how you can be a woman with confidence and agency and know better and still not see all of the red flags that you should. And I think that, so it was really important to me. I felt once I read Lily's story, I wanted to tell it because I wanted to make sure that you meet her at a place where she doesn't feel overly vulnerable or delicate, or like the perfect picture of femininity. And Ryle's the perfect picture of like dominance and masculinity, and he's going to take her on this wild ride and she's going to be swept away. Like it was important for me for her to sweep him off his feet, as much as, if not more, for him to sweep him off hers. And I felt like creating, like, leveling that playing field and making that feel more equal makes the relationship feel even more confusing when it goes off kilter, because she believes in the equality of their partnership and their strength as individuals and together. Lily is very different than me. Her story is different than me. Yet at the same time, I brought more of myself to this movie than I ever have before. And I think that comes from probably a few things. when you start acting, like, you're, for some people like out the gate are amazing. Like Isabella, who plays young Lily, like, I can't believe this is her first movie. She's just incredible in this. But that wasn't my experience. My experience is I was shy and nervous and didn't really, know what people wanted of me, and was supposed to bring a bit of myself to the table, but like also be a different character. And it's, the more I work and the more I.
So even before all this drama came out, she's been kind of dropping, unbeknownst to her, some hints that she wasn't really happy with filming this movie and that there was a lot of issues. That we know this and we're looking back on things, it's very clear and very obvious.
Study my favorite actors, and I don't mean study like, in a studio sense, just like watching movies and saying like, oh, I love watching Katharine Hepburn. I love watching Jimmy Stewart. They're people I love watching, like, yes, it's everyone talks about Meryl Streep, but for a reason, or Tom Hanks. And as much as they all disappear into their characters, you always feel Jimmy Stewart in a Jimmy Stewart movie. You always feel Meryl Streep. You always feel Katharine Hepburn. So my favorite people to watch are the people who always bring themselves, all of their most sparkly self to the table, and then overlay a character on top of that versus completely hiding themselves. And it's incredible when people hide themselves and do transformations. But for me, what I end up being drawn to is that's what I want to watch, because I find more joy in that, and or the most joy in that. I mean, I also find joy in watching people transform, but for me, I see that as something I love to watch. So I thought, well, that's something I want to do. And I think that I'm a very shy person. I'm a very private person, and so I've never really.
Oh my God, is it me, or she's just missing the whole point of the interview? The whole thing is to promote the movie. I get it that she's talking about her character a lot, but this is not all about you. You know what I'm saying? Like, she should be talking and responding answers, thinking about the whole movie and all the cast, all the roles, all the parts, the whole storyline, everybody's narrative as a whole. Because you're, representing this movie, this story, this book. So I don't know. She's just already giving me vibes off the bat that she is very conceited.
Wanted to put much of my personality into a character. You always get sprinkles of it, like I'll look like my character or dress like my character, but you don't really see a lot of me in the character. And I think that more than any movie I've ever done, like, Lily is such a ball buster. I am rotten to the core when it comes to that. Like, I am very, like, if I'm not busting your balls, then you should be worried. Then I'm mad at you. Then I don't love you. And just the way that I sort of use humor and levity in moments of sadness or pain, because that's the prism through which I can cope and deflect, and I smile in sad moments because it's just how I.
Busting everybody's chops and such. No, she wants to make you think that she's kidding around with you and pushing at you playfully, when she's really just telling you shit that is to bother you, or what is pissing her off, or what she doesn't like.
I process things. I'm not a person who has like, a lot of outward like rage or anger. Like, I'll get upset about things, but I'm not yelly. I'm, quite even and patient. And so the way that I react to a situation, instead of doing like exactly what's on the page, if she's going to react this way, I may feel the exact same feeling, but I may not react the way that it's written that she reacts. And so I really tried to overlay the honesty of my heart and emotions onto Lily. And I think that that's why the performance is one that I'm very proud of, because it feels very authentic and true to like an emotional journey that I can track. And while I've it's silly to say I've been fortunate to not experience anything that Lily has. It shouldn't be fortunate, but it's all too often that women experience this. And so I think that the reason that it feels very authentic is because it was as if I were experiencing this. What would my heart feel? What would my reactions be? And that's what I tried to bring to it, because I felt like that was the way that I could give everyone the most authentic Lily. I speak like me. I move, this is the most time I move my hands, because I move my hands a lot in real life and my face. And when I'm acting, I try not to do that, because people in real life maybe don't move their hands as much. But
so this is very telling in itself that she is very self-conscious. Very self-conscious. So she puts on that front like she's the best of the best and knows exactly what she's doing at all times. And what does that tell me? That tells me she's very calculated.
I do. So I just, I just let more of myself come through. And so I feel like, I feel like you can feel the authenticity in Lily, because she's not pretending to be someone. It's just, the true feelings. It's tricky. Like, I'm a diehard. When I read a book, I want them. But I also, my own imagination is always going to be different than, what someone else could intuit my imagination might be. And then sometimes I forget what was in my own imagination versus what's in a movie, because they start to blend together. But I think that what matters most to me as a fan is that the essence and the spirit of the people that I fell in love with are the people. Like, if the wall is green and lily blooms, but our wall is purple, it doesn't really matter. Like, if I'm a book reader, it's that the people I fell in love with, that the stories I fell in love with, that the journeys I fell in love with, that grabbed my heart and soul end up on screen.
Whoever did this background put their foot in. I love it.
Yeah, Brandon worked really hard. He got up so early this morning.
See, another thing with the set, that she already knows everything about it and who did it and when they did it. I know it sounds stupid, but it's the little details that count here.
Yeah.
All of Louis' flowers.
Always doing the most.
Picked them all by hand.
He did. He's been gardening
Went
and
to
raising
Connecticut
them.
this morning.
Oh my gosh. How are you guys?
Good.
Great. Oh my gosh, I'm good. Okay, so I will start by saying during the screening, there wasn't a dry eye in sight, and it was me who was sobbing, I will say. So you guys have accomplished what you set out to do, because this movie was really heartfelt. Blake, I'll start with you. When you and Justin were taking on this project, because it's no easy feat to bring a beloved book to the big screen, what were some of the concerns or hesitations that you guys had?
I mean, honestly, I didn't have any hesitations. To me, it was a no-brainer. Colleen just laid out such a beautiful and clear roadmap for Lily's journey. I completely understood why she made the decisions that she made. And it was really important to me to be able to bring to life a character who was both strong and vulnerable, who was both passionate and passive, who was masculine and feminine, who was fabulous and grounded. Like, I just really wanted to show that she wasn't any one thing. She was a person who had lived a lot of life, who had a lot of life experience, and was still susceptible to not seeing something that she should see, given her past and given her history. And Colleen just laid that out so well. And so I just fell in love with Lily, and I really wanted to tell her story. Where I was able to have such authorship was really important to me, and I'm really, really grateful to that, because I think that you feel the authenticity, you feel the honesty in all of our characters and all of the.
Do you guys see the guy next to her on the left? Every time we think she's done with the answer, she continues again. And I think they're all just kind of sick of it. I mean, this last part right here is all she needed to say as the perfect answer. And then stop. Just look at this guy next to her.
And I'm really, really grateful to that, because I think that you feel the authenticity, you feel the honesty in all of our characters and all of the performances on
See
screen.
what I'm saying?
Because we were able to inhabit the space in the way that was most authentic to us.
Yeah, no, beautifully said. And you definitely get that as a viewer. Isabella, when you popped up on screen, I was like, AI is getting crazy, y'all.
I know,
Like AI
right?
is getting insane. And then I was like, oh my God, it's not AI. You nailed it with the mannerisms. Like I couldn't even tell when you guys went back and forth. How much time did you guys spend with each other to like really nail it down? Because I felt like it was down to like the way you bit your lip and everything was so authentic.
Oh no. Oh no, no, no. Not with the lip biting, y'all. This is a little bit of a topic that's going on with the lawsuit. Remember, there's a text message where she says a little something to Justin Baldoni where she's like, it's my love language, a little lip biting or whatever the hell it was. But it kind of goes with this. Wow. Jeez.
Not a whole lot of time, honestly. I think it was like a pure stroke of luck and just like a universal thing of just like, we are just such similar people already that I actually didn't feel like I had to do that much to tap into those mannerisms.
I'm moving to Capri and Isabella's going to take over my whole life now, because I realize I can just like...
Girl, she just sat through you giving an answer. Let this girl have some time to shine. And I'm sorry, what is she wearing? Usually I am all for her outfits and style, but this, she looks like a clown. I'm sorry. It doesn't go with the vibe of the set, which shocks me because clearly she's very in tuned and involved with what things are going to look like on camera if she cares so much. And this is almost like screaming as like, attention, look at me. I'm the main character of the show or whatever the heck it is. It looks terrible.
Just, and no one will notice.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It'll just be me.
She's inherited 4 children, an amazing husband.
So excited. But yeah, I mean, we met twice and we had a couple conversations, and you know, even in those conversations, it just felt so buoyant and alive. And we were both like, and then there's this, and then there's that, and oh my God. And it was so exciting to relate so quickly to somebody, but to also just be so excited to like share this role with such an amazing person that it was pretty seamless. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, I love your relationship. Even off camera, it seems like you guys gotten really close. Brandon, Alex, is that the same kind of with you guys? You didn't spend much time, but
all the time.
Yeah.
Same as us. Party. Yeah.
Sharing tents and stuff. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go camping a lot.
Yeah, he's gonna take over your life then.
He taught me how to fly fish last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We caught a lot of algae. Didn't really catch it.
These guys are funny. They're just like, why the hell are we here?
Like a lake, more of like a pond, but it was more the experience, you know what I mean? Yeah, nothing like when that line's come through the air, you know?
Keep the lines tight, baby.
Yeah.
I will say Colleen loved your guys' interpretation of it, which I'm sure was like a really big honor. So what does it feel like? I don't know if you just want to go down the line of getting her stamp of approval and knowing that, you know, you guys had so much liberty, but she loved it as well.
I mean, yeah, it's the most important thing for me. Yeah, I spent a lot of time with her when we were filming, and it was kind of the North Star, because you want to make it your own, obviously. I didn't want to think about what people wanted too much, to be honest, because for me, I didn't want to like, it can trip you out to be considering too much what you think you should be doing rather than like your own honest interpretation of what you see in the book and on the page. So for her, it was just looking to her and being like, is this cool? And she's like, yeah. You're like, okay, then I know I'm good. Yeah. This is your story. Yeah. And it's just so cool to have that access to her and for her to be so present and giving with it. Yeah, it's really profound, I think.
Blake,
Why is everybody answering and looking to check with Blake if it's like the right answer? Do you guys see that? What the hell is that? That kind of gives me the idea that she was so controlling on sets and behind the scenes that they kind of fear her.
Bob Simonson said that you have excellent taste in music. I need the playlist, girl.
Go on Spotify. They
yeah.
were like, we need 20 songs. I was like, okay, it's 100, but only because I edited it down.
Yeah.
I am a little much.
Well, I mean, fans lost it when they heard Taylor's My Tears Ricochet. How did that come about?
I mean, honestly, the trailer, it was put in trailer first, and we worked really hard on that trailer, and it was just so powerful. And it was never something, this it's a movie you should see in theaters. You don't see movies like this anymore, where you
Guy to the left is already taking a breath in. The question was, how did that come to be? In other words, how did you get Taylor to do the song for the movie? Not why did you want it for the movie?
You get to see like movie stars being born. I mean, this is Isabella's first movie. Like everybody on the screen just like pops, and and to have a story that's like from a book that's such a big IP that hasn't been done, that hasn't been on screen before. It's such a special event and such a special experience, and it has such high production value. That said, it was like not a big budget, so it was not something where we're like, oh, let's have like the most successful singer of all.
Look how miserable Isabella looks right now. When somebody is being acknowledged, like how she just said, this is her first movie. Typically, you'd think she'd be smiling and grateful and this and that. She seems so uncomfortable. I think Blake Lively claims to have such a close relationship with her, and Blake, I guess, seemingly likes her, is probably because when she gave her directions on set to play her younger self, she probably obeyed and followed because of fear out of Blake and how she could be bullying and strategic, to the point where if I piss off Blake Lively, I'm also pissing off her family, who has connections in the business as well, but she might have me blacklisted. So watch the body language of everybody.
All time, in our film, it was just not something we were considering, but it worked so well in the trailer that I was like, that was very important to me for Lily's journey, because there's something that happens in her life that sort of changes her perspective about what her future is going to be. And as she's considering what her future is going to be, having that song overscore that time in her life was critical. And and I also love Rob Simonson so much. He's so great. My husband and I both worked with him on a couple. He did the Adam Project and Age of Adeline and Deadpool, and now he just did the
keeping all her connections in her Rolodex close together. So anytime she wants to take over somebody's film, she knows exactly who to reach out to and replace, so she could have the perfect movie. Just look where it's freezed right now. If there was a picture to tell you exactly how fake someone is, honestly, I think this is the shot. This is giving, moment to me. Like, I guess, let me be honest with you. Oh, yikes. No wonder why they all said the press tour and PR for this movie was hell.
The most beautiful. The Atlas theme is actually my favorite.
Oh my gosh. It was perfect. The timing was perfect, and it really added.
Yeah.
Colleen said that you guys added such levity to Lily's character. And I mean, I'm sure that was like a creative decision that you guys made. How does that feel too, to see that she saw that it was different than her Lily, but it was still something special that you brought? Because there is something light about her, the way she smiles, and you just fall in love with the character.
I want to I don't think there
she
was.
Says you're funny.
She went and grabbed that real quick when you saw Isabella was about to answer.
I don't think
she's funny.
Colleen is very funny.
Dry.
She's very dry, but it's in her writing. So Lily, there's a lot of levity in Lily in the book, in her thoughts, less in her dialogue, but more in her thoughts. So there's a lot of huge.
Apparently, it's only an interview with Blake Lively.
Darkness. Lily's very acerbic in her thoughts, but less so in her dialogue. So I yeah, I disagree that Lily's doesn't have love in the book. Anyway, go on.
No, I mean,
I just had to stand up for
no,
Lily's, like,
absolutely, exactly what you're
dark
saying.
humor.
Yeah, I feel like, especially playing like a younger version of her, like I really wanted to make sure that like you remember that she's, you know, still like really youthful and like young, and I am older than what I'm portraying in this film. So I really wanted to drop myself back into like, what was it like to be in high school, and, you know, like what is it like to have your first love, and like all of these things that are so new, while also dealing with like really serious themes. But I wanted to make
Yo, look at the earrings. Did Blake Lively, give Isabella these earrings to wear? Because it's very similar to the design on her earrings. Call me crazy, but did she give her these earrings to wear on set on purpose? We're so close, you know? I bought her a pair of earrings and they're like matching with mine. Oh, yikes.
make sure like that was like the base of her, you know, was this like just like buoyant joy that like you could see in the screen. That was a really important part of it.
No, you and Alex do an amazing job of bringing us back to that kind of like raw love that you get. The wardrobe really stands out to me as well. What was the decision behind just some of the clothes? Because there was so much character. I mean, it's funny, actually, you're still dressed like Atlas, I feel like.
Yeah.
He hasn't left the role since.
I mean, it's really hard to let go of.
Method acting.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, your clothes are pretty cool.
Yeah. Is Blake Lively drunk? Like, look at her. Do you notice she's flirting with him? She did say this is her love language, being a little playful and flirty. How is Ryan Reynolds, like, okay with her? She actually is making him look like, I hate to say it, a little bitch. She clearly wears the pants.
I am wearing his clothes in the movie, or your clothes.
The jacket.
Yeah, I'm wearing your Carhartt jacket, which is, I think, so sweet. Yeah, I mean, for me, wardrobe is the way that I enter a character. If I feel
Mentions it's the Carhartt jacket. She had to know the brand. And look at her earrings.
like I'm dressed different than me, or that I'm expressing myself through wardrobe, because it's the way I express myself, or who I want to sort of project. So I felt like, you know, to me that it was both utility and then fabulous glam. It was masculine and feminine. It was old and new, and it was all the things that she is. She's contradictions, but also you see how they make sense together, and she's trying to reconcile her past while, you know, making way for her future. And I think that you see all of that storytelling in her wardrobe, and also to have, you gotta really be in your skin to dress like that. You gotta have, like, you gotta know who you are and have a strong sense of self. So I think that that's probably the most critical thing, is that, like, to see somebody who's not flailing or trying to figure out who they are, grasping,
shut up?
really has their feet on the ground and has a strong sense of self, also lose themselves and not realize that they're losing themselves, I think is really powerful, and I think we conveyed that. And wardrobe does a lot to convey that. I love wardrobe for that reason.
Thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. I see now why every time I saw you guys talk about this movie, you guys had such.
That's the whole interview. It was literally just an interview with Blake Lively.
We can drop it. We've saged the room. We've emotionally saged. Sorry. We're gonna eat some chocolate croissants now.
No, but so I feel like your character is like the most confident woman.
Oh boy.
In the world, and yours is like very insecure.
Yeah.
Are you guys? But you guys are like, both of you have this attitude about you that.
In real life, it's the other way around, and I constantly have to call Blake and be like, "It's okay. You're good at giving interviews. I promise you. People like
she's
you.
not.
They respect you."
She's telling her off.
I gotta give her a pep talk. I'm like, "We're amazing. We're powerful." I mean, I'm the reason she gets out of bed in the morning.
And Anna's just an egomaniac, as you can see. So,
Yeah.
I'm
so
I learned a lot from her.
Yeah.
But are you good at telling yourself these things? Because I think we are the only person who can tell ourselves.
Oh my God, she is such a rude person, and she is making everybody look terrible on this press tour. She makes the interviews always about herself. Just kidding. I love you. Fucking hate that bitch with all my heart. Like, that's the vibe these two are giving. And they started off by saying they saged the set. Oh my God. But good for Anna Kendrick not letting Blake be the bully.
That we're good and that we're to give ourselves confidence, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it feels good when Anna gives me confidence too. I like compliments. I'm not below compliments. That's what my mom always says. She's like, wants me to compliment her, and she's like, I'm not below compliments. I'm like, it's clear that you're not.
Like weird expressions that she gets wrong. Wouldn't it be I'm not above compliments?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Oh, she gets it all wrong. I never even thought about it. She says it. Yes, she's not above compliments. My mom gets everything sort of
like expression. She was just telling me like
she'll be like
funny
smooth as pie. She could be smooth as silk or whatever.
Easy as pie.
Yeah,
Right.
and smooth as silk. But my mom, I think, is a very confident person, and so for me, yeah, I sort of like.
What is that? What is that? She's trying to correct herself. Is her mom really the one that makes these errors, or is it really her? And she's just blaming it on her mother to make herself look good. I don't know. This is a weird vibe right here.
I struggled with that because I've sometimes judged her for being so confident, which I think is like not fair, right?
Yeah, you're such a bad daughter.
Terrible daughter. See, this is an entire therapy session.
That's good. Get it out. So both of you are very active on social media, and there are a lot of people have opinions about you. How do you kind of just like, not let it affect you at all?
Everyone's opinion of me is just so positive. I do let it affect me. I do. Because everyone's like, you're great. And I'm like, I know.
You're not great. Blocked.
Yeah.
Do you block people ever?
No, I've muted some people. Now that it's a function on Twitter and Instagram, there's a couple people that I have muted.
Good.
Yeah.
You can mute people on Instagram.
I bet that's true.
Really?
I know. Get excited.
Oh, that's exciting.
But you replied to someone recently, I think, which they made headlines about.
Oh,
on
really?
Instagram. Yes. Someone was saying something about a spelling or something, and you just
Oh my gosh, I
replied
always
back.
appreciate when people correct me. It was someone said something about the spacing. I still really don't know how social media works. So if someone tells me how to fix spacing on something, hyperlinks. What does work a hyperlink?
I don't know.
I use an iPhone. It does everything for me.
Yeah.
So can we talk about the alcohol now?
Must
because
be
I've
nice.
heard that's been a big talk today.
Yeah, we've been making cupcakes. We've been passing out drinks. You can have an old rotten olive.
That's all I get.
Feel free. That's the only way we got people to come to this junket. Is we said we are handing out
We
free
have
cupcakes.
apples. We have olives. I have an old tea.
Throwing it.
Is it really alcohol in that one?
That
think
one's
this is
not
all
really, but
water.
there's a lot of free stuff on your way out. We've got goodie bags.
Oh, excellent. I love this junket.
You can take some of the furniture from the hotel room, charge it to Lionsgate.
Great. So one last question.
Was that really a joke? I bet you that's what she does when she does interviews or is on sets. She probably freaking charges the business or the studio for whatever her needs are. Entitlement.
Nice to meet you,
Thank you. I heard
girls.
the sounds. You
Oh, I
nice
love
to
all
meet you.
the
Nice to
jewelry
meet you.
going
Thank you.
on
You too.
there.
I was at Myron, New York.
Performers, and to have that level of life experience and soul and grace that you guys have is really, really beautiful. And I think that's what young Lily and Atlas, that's part of the reason why they connect is they have lived so much more than some of their peers, and they
Here we
carry so
go
much
again.
more, yet they're able to exist and create a space of levity and light and love. And then they also can talk about the other things. And so I just think that like they're able to capture that beautiful moment, that sweetness of youth.
How did you both feel when you saw the shop for the first time?
I mean, Russell Barnes, our production designer, and every single, set decorations, like, all of it, incredible art department. They just did such beautiful work. They were open because
This poor
Colleen
girl.
is the first person
Wow.
to say, she's like, I don't get into
She's miserable.
super detailed descriptions. So she was like, so for me, when I think of the flower shop, like,
everybody gets to project their own idea onto
Right.
it because she's not, saying, and then the cerulean blue flower in the corner as it drips down from the, they asked me a lot about, sort of what I felt in the space. They looked at my wardrobe and what we were doing there and just making sure that all of the pieces were speaking to themselves. And those are the best department heads, the ones who are saying, okay, let's work together to tell this story and to share this character.
Still going.
And you're like, oh, this is incongruous. Like, this room is not what this person would have designed her room to look like. And this is what she looks and acts like. So anyway, it was really special.
The flashback scenes with yourself, Isabel, it's beautifully done. What was the relationship between the two of you to get the one character?
We met when we did the first camera test, and we had a couple conversations. Honestly, it wasn't much, but I think from the get-go we just had such a seamlessness about conversating, and
I wonder how
like
that went.
the ideas that we had about Lily were so concrete and so similar that it didn't take much, honestly, to get to where we are now with the film. And
it was so clear emotionally that I think we both just connected with her a lot.
Isabel, I have to ask, how does it feel to be cast as a young Blake Lively?
I mean, it's wild, I mean, not only Blake Lively. I mean, you're phenomenal, but also to be a young Lily.
I was like, I feel like that is a disservice too, because she's.
Wow. That says a lot right there. She wants to make it very clear that she does not want to be associated as a Blake Lively.
In the movie, she's not doing me. She's bringing herself to the role as a young Lily. And I think that there's a key difference in that, because like, if she would have come in and tried to do me, it would have been like a Saturday Night Live.
This is horrible. How did nobody ever see this? I've never been a Blake Lively fan, so I didn't jump to see the movie. The only time I ever talked about her was when she had Britney Spears's Versace gown for the premiere. But this is bad. This is rude. How is this just being called out? This doesn't just happen overnight. A person isn't like this at random. They've been becoming this, or have they been this?
Situation, which is wonderful in a time and place for Saturday Night Live, but this is not that.
Stop holding her
And
hand.
she really like studied Lily and brought Lily to the table, and I studied Lily and brought Lily to the table, and
then we came together and went, that's this.
Yeah,
This is
exactly.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Sorry.
but yeah, I mean, it's
Clearly, she does this all the time, and she knows it, because that's when she goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead." Honestly, I think that's her little tick to make it seem like, "Oh, I'm so rude. I'm so sorry." She's not sorry, y'all. She wants to be the center of attention. That's clear as day. How about we go back a little bit further? So going to the point, like I was just saying, how has nobody noticed this? People have known.
Movie you left the hardest through.
Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, there was an article recently saying that Leighton and I were frenemies. And it's
frenemies. Is that the new term, frenemies?
Yeah, we're friends, but we're also enemies. And it's really strange because they always want to pit women against each other. You don't hear about like Penn and Chase hating each other and being jealous and competitive.
2 seconds later. I think I'm just brunette because of the books.
And everyone knows blondes are nicer anyway.
Wow.
A moment by me. Another promise was no pet monkey. Chuck has a matching pet monkey with coordinating outfit.
Seconds in, I can tell you she hasn't changed. She's been this person. Ryan Reynolds, this says a lot about you, homie.
And I was like, I would love to be part of the show, but I can't act with a monkey. And then I got a few of them. Come on, it was a joke. Lord have mercy.
Your wardrobe?
That is important. Very good. It's very important. This is wardrobe. This is wardrobe. This was on the return rack. I think it was hers. So I had to go and like slip them cash.
Are you kidding me? I think this tells you her insecurities, because I don't like to put this out there, but it's a known thing. She had a nose job. She looks different, but During the time of Gossip Girl, this is the cast. Leighton Meester, that's her name, the brunette. Everybody kind of liked her more than Serena's character. So I think this is her just telling on herself.
To wear it today. My parents had paid the show choir director to put me in the choir because I can't sing or dance to save.
Told you. Those parents are her connections, and they were clearly her enablers of this type of behavior, attitude, and mindset.
My life.
But you were lead in that choir,
I went in there, I was like, I'm supposed to be in this choir. Yeah, I was very like passionate, and you know, they put me in the choir.
Were you a high school actor?
No, I was in show choir. Glee is based on my high school, so it was it was so much fun. If I could be professionally in show choir for a living, I would, but I can't sing or dance. And
so how do you show choir if you can't sing
because
or
I was
dance?
really excited to be there, and I just
So let's pray to God she isn't the one that's got the role for Britney's biofilm. Oh.
I had a very big performance face, so they put me in the front row a lot because there were amazing singers and dancers that were just kind of saying the words, but I would be like, you know, like big over the top face.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's so sweet. I'm gonna put it here because it doesn't go with my outfit, but I will wear it later.
Thank you. Oh my God, I'm gonna put it on.
Do you see a message in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, I just hope.
Y'all see the difference there? One cares about how they look, and the other one clearly cares that somebody made something for her, loved her in the movie, and thinks highly of her. And she's touched. Blake Lively could care less.
That any women that see it, if they can, if they relate to Lily in any way, that they feel empowered and they feel seen and they feel heard and they find some hope to you know, take steps to change their life. It's incredibly challenging to be in any situation that is remotely close to what Lily's going through.
Yes.
You can feel incredibly weak and alone, and it is such a hopeful and such a positive message at the end of the film. And I think for men that see it, if you see yourself in Ryle, I hope that you have the you know, the gumption to be honest with yourself and to recognize it, take steps to change, and to admit that you're wrong.
Meanwhile, this movie is going to affect people, and they're going to want to tell you about their life. So if someone understands the themes of this movie, comes across you in public, and they want to really talk to you, what's the best way for them to be able to talk to you about this? How would you recommend they go about it?
Like asking for like my address or my phone number or like my location share. Or I could just location share you, and then we could.
And It Ends With Us is in theaters now, so grab your friends, wear your florals, and head out to see it.
Amazing. That is amazing.
Blake, you say hi to Stephanie, it's my girlfriend.
Hi, Stephanie.
Thank you
You
so
should leave him.
First of all, congrats on your little bump.
Congrats on your little bump.
What about my bump?
Ooh,
mommy. Did you guys love wearing those kind of clothes that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, working in digital.
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
Oh boy.
I would.
Meanwhile,
Wardrobe is always the way that I enter a character. I'm a very shy person, so if I look a certain way, then I can escape into that. Like even stuff today, I don't dress like this in real life, but like
That poor woman probably asked that question because Blake Lively is all about the fashion and style. And like she just said right here, she doesn't usually dress like this. So why did you dress like a freaking clown in the first place? Because you wanted the color and the focus to be on you and all the attention? I think so, lady.
I'm having to like do interviews and talk, so I'm gonna wear like a crazy pattern. Like my comfort blanket. It's just a very expensive comfort blanket.
That's giving me Amber Heard vibes.
I mean, honestly, the way that I get into a character is through their style.
Chemistry.
Y'all,
between
this
Lily
guy
and
was
Alice,
always the
it's
same
fireworks.
vibe.
It's
miserable
undeniable.
next to her.
What made it so easy to fall in love on screen?
I couldn't tell you. I mean, we didn't really talk
You
about
could
it.
tell her.
I mean, I could tell you it's.
You could say like really nice things.
I'm just
about
a really good actor.
Huh.
You know, I'm a really good
Yeah.
actor.
Huh.
Everything was really challenging.
He used the word challenging. Wow. So if you guys didn't know, they got married on a plantation, and this raised a lot of eyebrows. From the late 1600s to the early 1800s, the plantation was owned by the Boone family, and records indicate there were 90 to 100 enslaved people on the plantation. This person said, I have been to Boone Hall, and you have to have your reception at the cotton dock, which is literally where the slaves would load the boats with cotton. Like, what the fuck? Boone Hall also still has slaves' quarters on site. And this is where people were very upset. Why would you want that as your background for your wedding? Why would you even want to step foot there and see all that terrible pain? Like, I don't know. It's not for me. And also, I'm pretty sure Blake Lively had a clothing company that kind of went along with this type of narrative because people were upset how it was looking like they were making fun of people dressed in potato sacks. I can't play the music because I will get dinged. Sorry, you guys. But do you see this shit? Are you kidding me? Like, this ain't funny. Well, you guys make your own opinions and thoughts about Blake Lively, but if you want mine, I think she's always been a mean girl and always been super entitled. And Ryan Reynolds married that knowing that. Sorry, not sorry. Tell me what you guys think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in another stream or video really soon. I'm Linda, and that's For the Record, Your Honor.